Next is purchase of TDRs, of Birch TDRs. The Birch property is located at the intersection of St. Matthews Road and Kimmerton Pewtown Road. Mr. Birch approached the township about purchasing 21 of the potential 23 housing sites or housing development rights on that property. He has a time constraint, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jim, but that leads us to consider purchasing these out of the general fund money. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's a very visible piece of ground. It has been ranked by the Open Space Committee in the past and ranked very high. David, I know you've been very interested in preserving this viewshed of that hillside.
Yeah.
And
So we worked on it for years and years,
Yeah.
and there was an approved development on it.
And the economic conditions in the last 5 years, I guess, put the end to that development proposal, but time seemed to be at hand to buy the development rights from that property, all except for 2. And we also have had input into where the remaining 2 houses will be built. And in fact, we had input, we told them we're one of them. And what we're looking at is buying 21 of the 23 development rights. Is that correct?
For a purchase price of $287,500.
No, for purchase price of $450.
$450, sorry.
So do we need a motion to buy 21 TDRs from Robert Birch for $450,000? Is that what we're looking for?
That's correct.
So moved.
What about the 25?
Yeah, we're not presenting that correctly.
That's what I thought too.
It's 25 TDRs that were previously stripped from Birch's property on Kimberton Road. Is that correct? 25 of those. 21 on the Birch property on, formerly known as the Clevenstein property, at St. Matthews Road and Pewtown Road, for a total of $450,000.
No,
No.
Purchase price of $450,000 is what it says.
for the 21. For
I
the-
hereby move that West Vincent Township acquire from Robert L. Birch 25 TDRs for a purchase price of $287,500 and 21 others. Okay, so it's more than that. I'm sorry. In other words, it's a bigger deal than we're portraying.
46?
Correct.
I wasn't trying to portray it as anything other than it is.
No, I'm not suggesting you were. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out that we have to get clear about it because we didn't do it all the way. I didn't say it was on purpose. So it's a total of 46 TDRs, is that right?
That's correct.
And the total purchase price is what?
450 plus
737.
$737,500.
Thank you.
7 what? How much was that again?
737,500.
Did you make that motion?
I don't think I did. I was just reading it to illustrate what the costs were.
I'll make the motion. I hereby move that West Vincent Township acquire from Robert L. Birch 25 TDRs relating to uniform parcel identifier numbers 25-5-37, 25-5-37.01, 25-5-37.02, 25-5-37.03, 25-9-9, 25-9-9.01, and 25-9-10 for a purchase price of $287,500 and 21 TDRs relating to uniform parcel identifier number 25-5-18.6 for a purchase price of $450,000. Such acquisitions shall be subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the agreements of sale between the property owner and the township, and further, that the supervisors, the chairman of the board of supervisors, the township manager, and the township secretary be authorized to take any and all necessary actions to consummate the transactions contemplated by the township's proposed agreements of sale, and related documents, including but not limited to the execution and recording of the agreements of sale and documents and the payment of the monies to the seller.
I second.
Any comments? Maria?
Yeah, I have a couple of
I meant
questions.
Maria Holderness, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to annoy you.
Just sit further.
Okay, whichever wants to go first, I'm sorry about that.
Mine, I think, pretty quick. You said that you had to do this out of the general fund, not the.
Because of the time
open space.
constraint that the owner has.
Is there any chance of like getting reimbursed from the open space back in? Is that money in open space funds?
There is that much in open space funds, there is a chance of being reimbursed by the open space fund for that.
That's not a legal, horrific, horrible thing
No.
to slide it over, okay,
No.
just curious.
Maria Jacobs.
In the event that it's not slid over into open space, what happens to those TDRs? Are you able to then sell them to a developer down the road?
We could.
So this is not, the way that this stands today, this is not preserving open space. It's preserving that property as open space, but then the township has the right to sell those 46 TDRs to the next developer that needs TDRs.
We have that right, yes.
Do we have the money in the budget,
Yes.
in the general fund budget to make this purchase? And what would it be under?
I don't think it's in the general fund budget.
It's not in the budget, but it's in the general fund.
Yeah, it's in the general
And
fund.
it's money that was dedicated to open space, represents the contribution made by the West Vincent Associates several years ago.
I'm sorry, can you kind of give me that in English?
The Hankin Group gave us money.
Excuse me?
We received money from the Hankin Group.
No, I'm talking about this year's budget and where is it in the general fund? I mean, if you're gonna take
There's not a
700.
line item in the general fund for this.
Okay, so if you take $750,000 out of the general fund, using it to purchase these, then something else won't get funded.
No, this money was always reserved for the purchase of open space. It was a donation from the Hankin Group and part of our settlement, or not even a donation, it was a part of the settlement with the Hankin Group. It was always held in reserve by the township, commingled with the general fund for open space projects.
But if it were for open space, then it would have to say the open space. You couldn't sell the development rights to the township's buying if it came out of the open space fund.
I don't know what you just said. Could you say that again?
If the money is coming out of the open space fund,
It's not.
It's not, it's coming out of the general fund.
all right, it's coming out of general fund,
It's coming out of the general fund that's been donated for open space.
for open space.
There are two kinds of open space funds. Ones are discretionary and part of the general funds. The open space funds that we always refer to, that we go before the open space committee, are for the open space funds achieved through the special act that gave the taxation right to the township through the earned income tax or through the real estate tax. Those are subject to the Open Space Tax Act, and those have to go a certain way.
Actually, it didn't give that right to the township, it gave it to the residents by
The residents,
referendum.
right. But the township has to follow a certain procedure, and those are accounted for separately. That doesn't mean we can't buy open space with other funds that we have earmarked for that purpose. And we always have had separate funds earmarked for open space purchases.
Just as a follow-up, how much money is in this fund that was the general fund that's earmarked for open space? How much is there?
How much is it?
It's roughly close to that amount. It's
So
about,
that's a.
it's between 750 and 8.
Okay,
So
you
it'll
hear
wipe
that,
out
Mike?
that fund.
You hear that?
It's between 750,000 and
Yes, yeah.
800,000, and it'll wipe out that fund essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
How much is each TDR?
16 and 32.
I think it's, well, what's,
16,032
divided by
dollars.
26? That's-
$16,032.
Yeah, that's the average price. Yeah.
Can you explain the ones that, the 21 TDRs that are from a different parcel?
I will attempt to do that. Years ago, Mr. Birch purchased the property on the north side of Old Kimmerton Road and stripped the development rights from that property and held them and restricted that property to, I think, 1 or 2 building lots, or 78.
I think it's 4.
78 acres there, I believe, wasn't that what it was? And gave us the right to buy those development rights at a reduced price. And so for years, he's been wanting to sell them, wanting to sell them, wanting to sell them. And when he came to us this spring and wanted to sell us development rights off the old Clevenstein property, which is the hill there at St. Matthew's and Pewtown Road, we saw as a chance to preserve that hillside against dense development. And Mr. Birch and ourselves came to the agreement that we just made in the motion. We bought some of his outstanding development rights, which he could sell to a developer in the township if he wanted to. And so we were able to come to an agreement with him. And that's the motion that's been made.
And this is actually, when Birch approached us this spring, this was just the most recent discussion. I mean, this has been going on since I became supervisor, and I guess before. I can remember meeting with Birch, and it's kind of a series of lurches. We get close, then farther apart, then close, then farther apart, and at this point, we're there. And that's why we're...
Well, it sounds like a good deal. I'm just curious as to what developers right now are looking to purchase TDRs from the township that you might be able to sell these 46 to.
I don't think we have any requests from a builder, do we?
No.
How many other TDRs do we have kind of in the bank that we could sell?
I don't think we have any. I think this is all that we would have.
That we could sell.
In the township. We have others we can sell out of the township.
Would the intent be to move these into the open space and so that they are not developable?
That would be one way we could go.
No, I'm not. I know that's one way. That's obviously an alternative or an option. I'm
Yeah.
asking what is the intent of the supervisors today? With
The intent
of
today is to
this?
save that property from development.
No, I realize that, and it's a good intent. I'm not arguing that. My question is...
All options are on the table.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get into earmarking any, or choosing anything at this point.
So you're not looking to get the money refunded back from open
Perhaps,
space? Just to
perhaps.
pull that and roll the lot there?
It's the
All
kind of
options
thing
are on
that-
the table.
Yeah, let's just leave it that way. For all options are on the table.
Any other questions?
No, that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne, I think you were first.
The other 25, is that the property that the Birches presently live on, or,
No, Birch is living Gladwin, I think.
oh, they moved?
One
Okay.
line.
Is that the Hyam,
No.
what is it?
No, it's at St.
The
Matthew's.
Taylor, it's
they're in-
Wilson Taylor's property.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm misunderstood what
Okay.
question you're asking.
So that it's the one up the road? Yeah?
It's across the road from the old Hyam property.
Yeah.
Okay. Ted Otney?
How many developable properties or parcels will be left once these TDRs are purchased? How many more houses could he turn around and build?
He could build 2 more on the parcel of Pewtown Road and St. Matthew's Road.
And on the other side, on the north side?
Nothing.
He's allowed to build 4. There's 1 there. You said 4, right? I thought it was 2, but.
Yeah, my recollection is that there are 4 rights on it's roughly, you said 78.
I think it's
Off the top of my
78,
head, it's around
yeah.
80 acres.
He doesn't own the property anymore.
But he doesn't own the that's correct.
Oh, Carl, I'm sorry. You gotta hold your hand up. Carl.
How many TDRs will Mr. Birch retain if the township buys these 46?
Two.
He will own a total of 2 TDRs in the township?
Correct.
Okay, and so all agree? Okay.
My understanding was that there were 50 TDRs and that 25 are being purchased.
He's donating the rest to Friendship Pickering Creek's Conservation Trust.
So,
Kit.
so after he donates, after he sells these, and you just said he's donating the rest, he will hold those 2?
Correct.
Okay, just to be clear, I think this sounds great, I want you to do it, but I just want to know, did he receive something, or what did he receive when he stripped those 25 from the north side?
From,
Ms. Taylor.
From the, yeah.
from who?
From the township?
No.
Or did he receive anything from the township?
No.
Good clarification.
It was 50, and he didn't.
Okay.
The township received an assurance that it would have the first right to buy them at half price.
Okay.
And the contribution to Friendship Pick is part of this, that will all
And
happen.
we have nothing to do with that. It's not,
That's his
we're not involved
intention.
in that at all. That's his intention.
And so we could still potentially have 27.
My understanding it's going forward at Friendship Pickering Creek's Conservation Trust.
Problem, Carl, is if we were to write this into an agreement, it would probably cost Birch his charitable deduction. And that's a key element for him. If he's required to do it by contract, it's not a charitable act. So if he does it without a contract requiring him to do it, but with a clear understanding, then he's got the charitable deduction. That's substantial.
I understand and appreciate that. My concern is that his behavior in the township in the past has been less than stellar towards his neighbors, and he's changed his mind and performed in a way that's not honorable, in my personal opinion. So I was concerned that this could turn around in some nasty fashion.
It has already been approved by Friendship Pickering Creek's, the donation has been approved by Friendship Pickering Creek's Conservation Trust and accepted.
And you have control or influence or say over where the last 2 home sites are?
Yes.
And they will be, you won't be able to see them from
No, we
Newtown?
should
You're gonna be able to see them. Look at the Clemenstein property, man. You can see every acre of it.
I know, that's what I'm asking, like where they are in reference, because that's the view shed that's,
Okay, I'm gonna give you where they're gonna be. You ready?
yeah.
You drive down the road, you look to the right, the hill curves around, and you lose sight of it. One's there. Up on the hill, around the curve. I guess it's facing, what direction is it? I don't know. Toward Old Kimberton Road.
Right.
The other one is in line with the existing house and barn that's there. It's behind that, up the hill. Not a lot, a couple 100 feet, I guess, something like that. So that when if that house is built, it will be in line and joined, not joined, but in the vicinity of the existing buildings.
But not too high on the hill.
Correct. Yeah, we have it limited way down off the top of the hill.
Okay,
So
thank you.
we've, like Claire had said, we've tried everything to preserve that property. And the last thing that was there was, I think, a 33-house subdivision.
Correct.
And the only thing that kept that from being built was the economy turned. And it's taken a long time to come back, and for some reason, Mr. Birch is now inclined to sell the rights off of that. And I think he does have it listed as two properties for sale. So,
That's what the sign says.
yeah, Artie, I think you were first, and then
No, I
Francis.
just had a question about where they were going to be, directly adjacent to Flex House.
No.
Up around the corner, Flex
Clemenstein.
House, to go to the,
But
Behind
we're in line with the
Clemenstein.
Clemenstein property.
The one is closest to Old Kimberton Road. If you drive by, you'll see the hill curves around.
right?
It's on that curve of
The
the
downside.
hill.
Oh, okay,
And then the other one is, if you're sitting at the stop sign there,
right,
and you look back over your shoulder at the barn, it'll be behind the barn
okay.
in that area. And I can't say within 50 feet where it's
Yeah.
going to be, but that's
In
generally,
that same general area.
that's generally the
Okay.
area where it's going to be. So, Francis Ellis.
There's a for sale sign, that's right on the corner of Pewtown and Kimberton Road. Is that for that house, the stone house that was redone, that pretty stone house?
I think it's for the 50 acres that we're talking about here.
Well, that's Pewtown and with St. Matthews.
Isn't that what Francis said?
Okay.
She said Kimberton Road.
Oh, I'm sorry, but there's a beautiful little stone. Huh? Yeah,
Well, Mr. Birch,
it's a pretty
Mr. Birch
place.
never owned that property.
Pardon?
Mr. Birch never owned that property.
Oh, he never did.
No.
Okay.
And actually, that property was the first property that we bought development rights from, aside from the county one that we joined
Yeah,
in.
they did a beautiful job restoring it.
Okay. Joe, see
Can
you.
the TDRs be sold outside of the township?
Yes.
They can?
They can be, hypothetically, there is no buyer for them, and there is no zoning that supports it outside the township at this time. That's been an effort ongoing on the Phoenixville Regional Planning Committee. Not all members of the committee understand the concept, so it hasn't really flown yet.
It would be great if we could return those TDRs and get done with it. That would be the best and the greatest.
The complex.
Any other comments?
So the second to the motion? Did you second it?
Yes, there's a second.
Okay, motion's been made, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's it, right? Do I hear
Make a motion to
adjourn?
adjourn.
Second.